Hi, I'm Jean Lawrence, and I lead CNS Marketing and Communications at Nokia. Thank you for joining us for this Core Talk, and I'm very pleased to welcome Sab Sabason, the Mobile Core Director at BT. So Sab, first, huge congratulations on BT scoring over 900 in the recent umlaut test. That's a real validation of BT's network leadership. So from your perspective, what are some of the key market and technology attributes that define that leadership in the mobile core today, and how is BT aiming to stay ahead and keep that leadership position?
Thank you for the question. Yes, scoring over 900 was a major milestone for us, and is a huge proud moment for everyone involved in BT. And this is the first time a UK operator surpassed that 900 points. And this now put BT among the top 10 to 15% of the global top tier operators out there. And it's the first time UK reached that sort of major part of that operating capability. And it reflects years of work we've done simplifying our architecture and building in operational excellence. It also reflects the depth of engineering effort we put in to modernizing our mobile network. Network leadership is not just the speed, it also means being reliable, responsive, and ready for whatever is next. And we push hard on automation, observability, and making the core much simpler and leaner. And for customers, this translates into fewer drops, faster responses, and consistent quality day in, day out.
Great, so supporting some of the mission critical industries like you do, utilities, emergency services, transportation, means that the network can't just be fast. It also has to be always on, resilient, ready for anything. So how at BT are you designing your core with distributed architectures and some of that continuity and robustness in mind?
Yeah. Our network is part of the critical national infrastructure, and it is the backbone of the UK and its economy. And for sectors like emergency services, energy, and rail, downtime is not just an inconvenience, it's a real risk, and we call it life and limb. And we have built a distributed core network with separate control and user plane functions across 16 data centers. And we build geo-redundancy, service segregation, and tight latency budget from the start on that. And distributed core network means we can keep the service running even if one part of the network has issues. We separate traffic flows and prioritize based on criticality and plan capacity with resilience in mind always. And it's also about designing for the unexpected and making sure the network keeps going when it matters the most.
Great. So turning now to subscriber data management, that is really foundational for any mobile core because it touches the performance, the availability, and really the end customer experience. And Nokia and BT have had a long partnership in the area of subscriber data management. So what are some of the areas that you see as most important to focus on in SDM to make it even more resilient and ready for the next wave of demand?
Yeah, SDM is right at the heart of the network and is at the center of user experience. It manages the identity, subscription, and access in real time. We have a long partnership with Nokia, all the way from the 2G days to HLR and then 4G HSS and now SDM. And we value Nokia's expertise and their robustness of that critical platform, and that's why we are consolidating all of these functions into the Nokia Cloud platform, and we are currently working on consolidating the database capability onto the Nokia SDR platform as well. And moving from the current NCS to NCP will give us better scalability, resiliency, and alignment across domains. And as part of our technology evolution, Nokia and BT are jointly working on the next generation deployment models, especially with the real sharpened focus on enhancing the resiliency and the security even further, such as the disaster recovery site solution we are jointly working with. And this shift now gives us a simpler and stronger platform that is ready for whatever comes next in 5G and beyond.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about the monetization side and the interest in monetizing the investment you've made in your 5G network and beyond, especially through API exposure, so that developers can build these kind of smart network-aware applications. How at BT are you looking at the API-driven service innovation, and how do you see it unlocking new value for developers in these emerging applications?
5G gives us more than just a speed, and it gives us the intelligence we can open up through APIs. And we are working with Nokia and other partners on evaluating how we can expose those network APIs, such as quality on demand and device status and a few others, to the developers. And we also go beyond just offering an API through the partnership, and we support developers with SDKs and documents and test environments, and that's the plan we have. And the model is about mutual gain. Developers build smarter apps, and customers get new value, and we grow our revenue. And it is early days, but we see this as the future. And turning the network into a platform, others can build on from that. Okay, it's now my turn to ask the question back to Nokia or Jane.
Yes.
So from one of the challenge we see is always we are looking to improve the operational efficiency and security. Those are so critical for us. And from Nokia's side, how are you working further to simplify the network architecture and at the same time making the security by design even further?
And those are really important points, so I'm glad you asked the question. So that simplification and security really go hand in hand in a modern network. And so we're moving towards more intent-based systems where it's really about the outcomes more than the configuration details, less complexity, fewer errors. And from an architecture perspective, we're consolidating some of the control plane functions and building more modular, reusable components. And then security, of course, is critical, and zero trust security is built in encryption, authentication, threat detection at every layer, really by default. And so we're also exposing fewer interfaces, but smarter ones, so that we can reduce the attack surfaces while still enabling that programmability that we talked about. And ultimately, we want to help CSPs like BT build and run leaner networks that are easier to operate and harder to compromise.
Thank you. And with those changes, what is one thing you think the CSPs like us should stop doing or start doing to really get ahead of that?
So I think that, as we're talking about core networks, seeing the core less as a fixed system and more as something that can flex and adapt with your goals as your business evolves to be more responsive, really leaning into that automation earlier rather than later, not just to save effort, but to give teams more time to focus on strategic items that really matter, things like growing revenue, as you talked about earlier. And most importantly, I think keeping the conversation going. At Nokia, we really value hearing from BT and our customers, and that's really where a lot of the best ideas come from. So, just to keep that open dialogue is huge.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good, so let's now look a little bit more to the future. What are some of the shifts that you're making at BT to accelerate, how to speed up the introduction of new services to reach your customers, and how can we, as your partner at Nokia, align with you to support those ambitions?
Yeah, at BT, we are shifting how we build and operate the network and moving from a traditional process into more agile and cloud-based models. And we are really streamlining design, testing, and deployment to bring services to market faster than ever before. And automation is helping us to reduce the manual steps and supports every layer to remove that effort out of it, and especially in operations. And we are also working across teams, breaking down silos between networks, digital, and product teams to speed up the decisions we make. And we want our operators, like our partners like Nokia, to be part of that momentum, co-developing, co-delivering, and evolving with us.
Great. So Sab, thank you very much for this interesting discussion. I'm really looking forward to our continued collaboration, and thank you for your partnership with Nokia. And to all of you joining us today, this concludes our Nokia Core Talk. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.